morning, class. Welcome to Homeroom with Unk and Market Monk. Morning, P. How's your week?
Good. I mean, just timed a lot really well without trying to time it, if that makes sense. Just a lot of stocks in some good spots. We pretty much called it with Microsoft a couple weeks ago. Just other elements of the Mag Seven, and then the SAS just got obliterated for so long. Pretty strategic with some snow and MDB and crowd, the D Dog, even like Okta, stuff like that rebounded really well. Crypto nailed that thesis. Um, Oil, I'm kind of still sitting pretty there. So yeah, it all kind of worked. It's a lot of the narrative out there is like no one could have seen this coming, but I think we had a roadmap of the possibilities. So we didn't know which way it was going to go exactly, but we were ready, and it worked out. So now we kind of see where we go from here. Avoid chasing, kind of chill. But yeah, just an exceptional week, and even could peek at the long term account and feel all right about it again.
Yeah, don't want to say too many names because there was a lot of names last week, and we focused on those during the red weeks for a reason. Um, but I will point out the stuff that I wouldn't have got without this group or this session. And man, I don't know if you looked at that Roku chart, but I'll probably bring it up later. And
Yeah, yeah,
and Kodak not stopping was pretty cool. But yeah, just a lot of the overall thing I told myself I was going to say in here. No names. Um, and the same story that I've had tale as old as time working with you. I got some. I didn't get all I wanted, but it was pretty damn good. And I mean, that's
yeah,
just kind of what we do. I don't know if I'll ever be able to master the getting it all back in at the right time. But I would rather be good at knowing when to chill, knowing kind of how long the pain's gonna last, where I think the pain's gonna turn around at, and then start attacking. And sometime during that attack plan, I win. That's fine with me. And I did kind of have a little foresight this time on it being a quick recovery. Bro, I didn't see it being that quick. There's just no way anyone could have predicted, the
yeah,
moves
yeah,
we had. And kind of pivot this conversation a little bit to the stuff I had in the notes. You already mentioned Microsoft. And what fucking planet do you get 10% out of Microsoft that quick? I mean, I've
yeah,
never seen anything like that. And note last week on the page 360, 370 Microsoft. Personally, for me, buy 10 shares over the next, like, I think I said it in voice even. Buy 10 shares over the next 10 weeks or something like that. Get yourself a position. You just didn't have time for it. So what you got is what you got. Fortunately, a lot of the other names that I won't say pounding the table at, but sure the hell hollering across the table about last week, last few weeks, doing pretty good. Um, I don't know if you caught my son's message in my room, but it is what it is. When you get good entries, 50% comes at you fucking fast.
yeah. No, it does, and I think one of the things that was really common just out in the Twitter land was this idea that Trump's full of shit, and all these peace deal talks and stuff. It's not the reality. They're not really going to open the strait, and it's just it's sort of funny that, and then you see over the weekend, all the saber rattling and everything, and we just keep going through this pattern, and it's just a lot of these guys manage to um, be wrong and still lose a lot of the money and a lot of money, and it's just that like you're trying to trade macro on the minute chart is how I describe it, and so you see like inflation's hot and um, doom and gloom job market and everybody's Meta's laying off 10,000 people and uh, Claude is going to replace all the SaaS and like all that stuff. Like you see all of that stuff, and it's it's just very hard to catch a follow through to the downside on on a lot of that. I mean, the market is it's been set up to set up to recover. And my skepticism about some just prolonged drawdown from where we were really came from a conversation we had in here with, it was like, call up SPY, and I'm like, you know, I for months had seen these pairings of puts and the, kind of bracketing 660, and it really, for me, I was like, okay, that's sort of where they're thinking this might go. And then that all disappeared. Like once they hit those numbers, it was just gone, and they didn't replace it with anything. And so I'm like, they might. I got to wait to see that. But that there's certain flow I'll try to anticipate on stocks I know really well. Something as big as SPY, you can't really do that. And that's a lot of the, when people try to read flow on SPY, they'll just be like, oh, look at this, $4 million order, and it's like, you know, short expiration, really, really nothing. The way to read it is that scaffolding of open interest that they're working around and setting things up, and the fact that they hadn't done that, um, just told me that they really don't even think it's worth hedging right now. So, um, so we're gonna get some kind of rally, like you said. You can't see it going that far that fast. That follow through multiple 1% days on Nasdaq in a row, and all that stuff. You can't anticipate that, but you sure as hell can be positioned in some comfortable spots, and catch a piece of that move. So over time, that's really what I've tried to do, and I think we managed that pretty well while still having an eye on some other sectors. I think people are way too quick to give up on oil, energy in general, critical minerals. They're going to screw up cycling back around to quantum and all that stuff. So that sector move, the sector moves, and sector awareness, I think, is probably one of our biggest strengths. Not to just turn this into like, patting ourselves on the back, but that's where my work always starts, and it's good to see that payoff for us. And just we're entering, to me, the hardest conditions are the couple weeks after a week like we just had. But that's when I really kind of buckle down and try to find some things. So it should be a good couple weeks for us.
And shout out to 4 to 6 weeks. I framed this one on the fucking wall.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even. I mean that I could probably sell it as, I called the turnaround too because I said 6 weeks, but that was not the case. It was just we need 4 to 6 weeks to figure out what the fuck we're doing. Um, the Not to get too geopolitical too early in this day, but the writing's on the wall with what's going on with Iran. If you read what I wrote pretty much before the turnaround, like the second before the big turnaround, because I seen it coming then. I could see it when it was in my face. Um, there was four options, and two of them required something pretty direct for negative circumstances, and we just didn't get it. And I don't think they got it. So it is what it's posturing for me at this point. But that doesn't mean fucking 710 by any means. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and I just throw this out there, man. Iran don't have stocks, but China does. Be mindful of that. A little bit on though. I don't even think that was my best call in the year, P. And we're only in fucking what, April, and I already think I got a better call. And you know me, I'm gonna ask you what it was, and you're gonna say I don't want to fucking know. So I'm just gonna tell you this time. And
Yeah.
it was that stocks are gonna have they're gonna move 10 to 20% on the year, but they're gonna have 50 to 100% range. I said it at the
Yeah.
beginning of the year that we're gonna have a deep ass pullback at some point in time. But when you get to the end of the year, it's only gonna be like a 10% increase, and a lot of the individual names are going to go that route or in that route. And I think a lot of them are still available to buy. I mean, you went through my stuff this week. A lot of them double reads coming back,
Yeah.
which is really the first thing I look for. Give me two numbers. All right, where are the two numbers at? And to to also elaborate on that, and I'll pop it back to you. The keep it simple stuff. I was yelling every day as I was golfing. I mean, I'll be honest about it. After watching the market fucking paint dry for 3 weeks, that the volume is low here. The volume is low, and I'm not scared of a low volume pullback. It's price discovery. They're trying to find someone to sell. Now, if people are piling in and selling, that's a different story. You know that, and that, to be honest, is kind of tradable because there's activity there. And I'm gonna zoom out on SPY here, and I know I got this messy, dirty indicator no one understands but me down here on the bottom. But the biggest red on this bottom, and this is what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years on this chart. The biggest red is where 22, 21,
Yeah.
22. When did me and P learn together in that
Right.
market? But we could do that because there was volume in that market. That
Yes.
that market that market actually had sellers. So these last two pullbacks, the April one last year, you guys heard what I said through that, and this one here, you've heard what I said through that. But that's not based on anything but the amount of actual fucking volume. And I do see, Twitter. The closest Twitter's getting to that is like they'll pull up insider sales or CEO sales, and first of all, like you're in, they don't understand open interest. Well, my end, they don't understand like time sales. Like a guy that gets fucking 5 million shares a year is probably going to sell 250,000 of those every quarter because he's
Yeah.
still going to have 4 million left and he needs some cash. And who would sit on that much anyways? And people just don't understand that. And you get that timed up with the April thing. Um, but I digress on that. It's important for everyone to know, so I wanted to put it out there. But man, when we pull back and there's no volume, whether it's on an individual name or the market in general, don't trust it like a fucking wet fart, man. Like it's not gonna be good. So uh,
Yeah, the other thing they don't really understand is the sellers need volume too. I mean,
well,
because they'll just be like, "Oh, there's no volume behind this move," thinking that that's automatically bearish when that really isn't the case. I mean, to me, from my end, what it often means is that you get this pre-market move, and then you kind of can't do much with it, and you'll just sort of be in a range, and it's horrible for options like that. That's what tends to happen
the
on some
first
of these
thing the
days.
first thing I notice is that I can't get filled when I put my price in. I can buy market. They have to sell it to
Yeah,
me at the market. But when I put my price in, even though it's hitting, it's not giving it to me. That's the first thing I always notice. And a lot of time I question, like, man, are people really trading? Because
yeah,
that's just a low. Anytime you get a low environment stock, like someone asked me about something that has six, 700,000 shares traded a day. It's like I don't even know how you're going to get filled on that. Like it's hard to get filled on some of that stuff unless you're just hitting the market, and But then you might get a spread of 7, 8 cents on a $2 stock or whatever, or an 80 cent spread on a $20 stock, and yeah,
yeah.
I just don't. I don't understand how people don't see that as an indicator because it's one of the biggest. Activity or volume is one of the biggest, and we just did not have it in this last pullback on pretty much anything.
Yeah, and for me, the single name encapsulation of what you were talking about was, um, with Meta, I just said hard to buy up here, but there's probably a 20-30% move coming up, and that was towards the end of March, and just kind of here we are, and I think too with well, I guess I'll just ask you what's your read on SPY and Nasdaq being at all time highs and a lot of the names in it still being well below those highs. That a lot of stuff is still 10, 15, 20% on some of them below their all time highs. Like what do you make of that?
Well, I mean, they
That
rotate
con-
they rotate in and out of those, so a little
yeah,
bit
yeah,
there, but yeah, it's a fund. So I think that's where the money goes first. That's where big money goes first. Like when we talk about pensions, like school
right.
board pensions and stuff. That's where that goes. So maybe there might be a little divergence there. I'm not too familiar with. I mean, it's not a one for one thing. It's still people buying those positions. Um, so yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
don't.
think I mean the misunderstanding I do think people have about fun sometimes is like, well, so if I buy a share of QQQ, I'm buying this, this percent of it is Microsoft and this percent of it is Apple, and so like equating that to I own that, that many shares of Apple, I own that many shares of
Yeah, no, it
Microsoft.
doesn't work that way.
It's not, no, it's not that. So yeah, it's not one to one, and the one that people used to really do was the the SPY Tesla correlation, which is it's one of those kind of correlation is not causation logical fallacies almost, where people were really like glued to the relationship between those two charts and the way that those then um, diverge from each other,
Well,
and they weren't ready for that.
I forgot who asked me a few weeks ago about setting up 401k in here, maybe a month or two ago, and I just sent him what I had. But like, so because I can speak on that, right? I know how that works.
Yeah.
But because SPY and these QQQ are similar, but so I have things in there that basically will make me 3% if the market stays flat, and then it takes half the move if it goes north or south. Does that make sense? So if it
Right.
moves like
Yeah. Yeah.
6% north, I get my 3 plus 3 more. If it goes 6% south, I kind of break even. Um, and there that is like the way me and financial advisor set it up, right? Like just us two. He's a really low hanging fruit guy, and me obviously. Well, these guys are like the Wall Street guys that set up SPY and QQQ, right? So they have the same kind of mechanics to where they're just leveraged and hedged in the way they move in and out of those positions that it's just going to go up. I mean, you might not get the full move, right? Like
Yeah.
SPY didn't match Nvidia, um, but you do get you just get the you're set up to not fail. I hate to say that way, but that's why people do say just DCA into
Yeah, and
SPY.
and they give you the options, like aggressive, medium, or conservative, and so like early career you go more aggressive, and
Yeah,
and scale it back as you get older. But
but
yeah, yeah,
you're just supposed to beat. You're really just supposed to beat the sales pitch on like the whole mutual funds and SPY ended up being the winner of that and or ETFs and stuff, but SPY been ended up being like the winner, the leading indicator in that is just you're gonna beat inflation with your money and then 3 to 5% on the year. That I mean that was always
yes.
the sales pitch to people for any kind of fund, was that we will beat inflation and then you'll make a little bit. So your money you're not gonna lose money by being in like a savings account or CDs or gold and silver because that used to just be how it was.
Yeah, and I think navigating the anomalies within that system and the individual names, um, has been not the biggest part of what we do, but definitely something that comes up. Like I remember with SMCI, the run up to S&P inclusion,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and pre-split this ran over $1,000, and I remember kind of playing that run up, and I was rolling contract calls with Goose, all the way from sub $30, sub 300, like on this thing, like 220, and just like I had one contract, I just rolled almost this whole move up. It was nuts. But anyway, then they get included, and then it kind of tanks from there, and that's when it went to 80, and then they had their issues and whatever, and came it round tripped, and came all the way back. But the way that kind of the original people sell into that forced buying that happens with the S&P, the same thing seems to kind of happen with IPOs, especially like navigating that lockout period or whatever. And I know that at the cigar bar, like guys talking about buying SpaceX, and that's going to be a huge deal for lots of things. The space sector, but kind of nibbling and navigating around that rather than just piling into the IPO itself. That's going to be a big story for us, and it's not just SpaceX, but um, OpenAI and Anthropic, like those. I think in Kalshi, when all of them do it, um, that's going to be like going to wake up a lot of sectors, and going to be a pretty exciting time that we're going to trade a lot differently than I think most people would.
I always say on Twitter, real traders talk different. We trade different too, obviously. Um,
Yeah.
let's talk different here for a little bit, P.
Mhm.
I got some notes there, and I know you're just gonna knife and fork these notes because I wrote them down thinking about you.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, let's just open it up a little bit, like we would just talk freely. Don't hold back here for a little bit, okay?
Okay, sure.
Um, and these are quick hitters, so let's not. I mean, we could spend 40 minutes on each of these topics. Let's not do that either. I'm gonna hit you with the best one, the filet mignon out the gate for you. We always talk about SaaS. Like I mean, you're if people don't know about SaaS with you, they're not paying attention to you. Um, they all ain't coming back. I think that's a
Right.
misconception people have is that like every chart's going to come back and they're all going to come back equally. We've been through this enough that we know they all ain't coming back. One of the big things we do is separate the winners from the losers. So we're not the loser on fucking Twitter saying, "Well, this should move like that." And it hasn't. Um, they all ain't coming back, P.
No, right. Well, I think with the AI story, um, and when cybersecurity um, is kind of the strongest of
Yeah,
the group because you have to punch back, and that's going to be their angle, their story, all of that. The database management stocks, the Snows of the world and MDBs, I think they will. I think they will adapt as well. On cybersecurity, it's CrowdStrike and Net and all of them. Uh, Now, I will say that I mean, just to get into a name real quick, like Net. I mean, there were people in our room scared to buy this thing at $40 because of a recession, and now now it's 200. So what does failure mean for Net at this point? We're going back to like 120 or 100, or
it's
be ready. Be ready for that. And then it's a question of is it not coming back mean it's not ever going to see 200 again? Maybe, um, but you mentioned Roku as a
well,
big
hey, let
winner.
me get Professor's purple line out on net. I just have to say it so people know I know.
Oh, sure, sure,
All
yeah.
right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so on Roku, like we could say that shit's never coming back, and if we're talking about $440, yeah, okay, fine, you're probably right, but we get our percent. So I think there's two things there. And I had someone ask me about how I deal with SaaS and all of that. The ones that I think are gonna make it, the Snow, when I saw Snow as like this forever hold back at this 132 line, but learned pretty quickly like it's probably going to circle back around, and it has several times. And I do think that there will be a point where this kind of goes to 300 and never look. It doesn't look back. CrowdStrike, similar kind of thing, but you have to have a story that's going to fit you into AI can attack what we do, but we're gonna punch back, and that's where the cybersecurity thing comes in, and playing on that. Let's like you want to sell a security system. You got the commercial with the prowler outside the window, and you pick up the phone, and the call center coordinates with the police, and and all that. Like that you have to really kind of push that angle that there's all this chaos out there, and we can calm and address all that. The HR software. So if you got lean and you replaced all your HR people with this software, you're kind of locked. You're locked into that, and And I think the backlash against AI will be that there's limits that are going to be with us for like a decade of what this really actually can do, and how much of what you replace with it needs to still be maintained and fixed, and you have to have a middleman to do that. And so I think the HR stuff is fine. The ones I would say aren't coming back are um, a lot of design software that just when I look at a company description and they're talking about integrating Teams and Google Maps and all this stuff as like what they do as a third party, where they're just kind of like parasites on this other software. I don't think a lot of them are gonna make it. So yeah, I think there's gonna be some companies that get cannibalized, and I'll see it in the flow who's gonna get bought out. And the thing that people don't talk about with buyouts, and I'll kind of close with this, that yeah, it could be this great thing that the stock gets bought out for, it's trading at 32 and it's going to get bought out for 38. But that's not great if you bought it at 70 or 80. So do not go down with the ship with any SaaS. I mean, I would not, I'd certainly not recommend that. And if you win on it, we have pivots. Use the pivot as the spots to scale out, and that's what I did with Snow. And so you're gonna have some of those too. But yeah, I agree that a lot aren't gonna make it, and I think the flow will give us a good roadmap on that.
You guys see why I hang out with this guy?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna I'm just gonna like some charts, and he's gonna have the flow. That's all I gotta
Yeah.
say there. Roku, I did want to shout out to Roku because that was kind of in my notes in general. But
Yeah.
man, I paper hand this goddamn chart every time. But levels are real. Um,
Right.
China stocks. We don't have Iran stocks, but if you want some correlation there, I shouldn't have to spell it out for you. But I think that's our indicator, or our event that does help those charts a little bit.
Uh, yeah. Well, the meme going around with China is that geopolitically that they're navigating things more effectively than the United States lately. That um, the strategy is do nothing and win. Trump's this big buffoon, and um, you know, China's gonna be able to sell their cars in Europe, and all of these great things. But I will say that there might be some truth in that, and like it's fun to joke around in the English department lounge about that sort of thing. But I will say though that the situation in Iran um, is more tenuous and difficult for them than it is for the U.S. in terms of they have a lot of deals with oil, fertilizer, whatever. That this situation causes a much greater disruption for them, and so there's incentive for them to leverage some kind of conclusion to this, um, you know, kind of wrap this up quickly. And so I think that they'll get a little more involved as this continues to stagnate. As far as the stocks go, there's a lot of Chinese stocks that are primed for a pretty significant move. So I kind of
Beach
keep
ball. A lot of them are, I would say, in beach ball shape, and that's
uh,
where I like them currently, and why the sector is
yes, yeah,
becoming positive for me.
yeah, absolutely. And so something like Bidu can get pretty explosive.
Yep.
So we've seen it several times, and I don't know. Someone might say this, oh, it's going to form a Head and Shoulders. I don't know. I don't really do the chart shapes, but
What's your
um,
safest China stock right now? If you had to pick one, I know I just put you on the spot, but do you have a safest China stock? Mine's
oh,
the PDD, $100.
yeah, I was going to say PDD or Beak, one or the other. Um,
Peak's real estate though,
the
yeah.
uh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but no,
God, that
I
is
think
safe. That's just safe because of the price.
yes, that's what I was gonna say. Right. That you just got this. I mean, if we get into the like 22, 23,
20.
24,
That's the I think it's the
might go ahead
level.
and peel some off.
Yeah, that's the level.
But yeah. But no, yeah, PDD in as terms of the online retail, Bob kind of
Oh no, it's 14. Shit.
didn't come back to our spots. So if Baba was $92 or $84.
Yeah.
I'd say them, but it's hard to buy. It's easier for me to buy Meta than this. I mean,
Sure.
honestly, just but yeah, no, I do like I PDD just because
It's in my
um
notes every week, like in my secondary notes every week. I mean, look at the weekly. Yeah, $100.
yeah, and all the old guys at the cigar bar, like guy'd be talking about getting one of those. You ever seen those cigar clips for golf carts?
No.
So like,
Come on.
yeah, so you take
Yeah.
this clip. It looks like a chip clip or something, but you clip it on the railing of
Yep.
the cart, and then you put your cigar in it.
Yep.
And guys talking about buying that on Temu,
Oh yeah.
that they undercut Amazon or whatever. So,
I just
um,
I made sure I bought American, but I just bought a little thing that slides under the scorecard, and then
mhm.
like you put your phone slides into it, so it's on the steering wheel, and then you just
Oh,
flip it. You
nice.
just flip your phone
Yeah,
up, and the scorecard's still there.
yeah, yeah,
But I bought it from a guy in Colorado because the Timu one was only like $4 cheaper, and I didn't want to wait 2 weeks. So
yeah, yeah.
I digress. Sorry.
Yeah, these are like they're real cheap. They got
Oh yeah, 3 or 4
three
bucks. I bet.
retirements
Yeah,
and
no.
those.
Every guy that I
So
know that smokes cigars has that goddamn thing, and then the guy that smokes cigarettes like has this little disc that he can just put it in. It's weird. It's a little different.
yeah,
Yeah. No,
but
they smokers, man.
yeah, point being that they have these Chinese retailers, like they have reach, and they're big on Facebook. I'm sure, like, and that's where they see a lot of these ads and stuff. So
All right, let me move on
so
to.
yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna put the last two together because they are together, and I knew this would happen. I get Professor talking about stocks, and this thing could be 2.5 hours. Um, Set it forever. Nvidia gonna catch up to the 50. Well, that was part of this event too, on the weekly. Just kind of needed. We haven't really gone over the continuation in our room yet, but sure that will be a topic of discussion. But I do want to couple that with another chart, which we have talked about lately, which is our market breadth chart. Upstart, perfect timing, perfect entry, yada yada yada, whatever. Run the tape back, but just in general, um, seeing what we've seen before, seeing some follow through in the market breadth stocks and in the leading stocks. That was kind of those two comments.
Yeah, well, I think the one of the things that we want to just have some really kind of intense awareness of is um, the hardware software divide is still going to be very important, and the Nvidia like complement stocks, and this is where like NBIS came in, and the data centers, and like all that stuff. Just staying aware of that, and then I've noticed, and I don't know if this is where you were going with this, but I'll just go there. Is uh, like Nvidia will start talking about doing some of their own, like taking over some of their own stuff, like the getting more into like producing chips, and so the fabless firms starting to make things, and it's just really a market development to kind of keep an eye on because of the way it can affect the companies that have benefited most from relationships with them, or if Anthropic's like talking about doing things that could rival or replace Nvidia. You mentioned China. Um, the way that we treat chips is a national security issue, and trying to kind of keep China at arm's length, and the way that that can affect things. So a lot of the revisiting some of these averages, if we blow past them, to me the stories like that will be what would do it. But I think you also have to keep in mind. I'll go ahead and say with Upstart, got a long way to go here. This isn't really actually that much of a move yet.
Nope.
So we've been in that kind of market too, and I wouldn't be surprised if Upstart gets back into the middle of that big zone there, the 65 area. So, but I'd be aware of that too. That there's a tendency you get a week like we had to automatically just be extremely cautious and the move's over or whatever. But this can go on and on. So be mindful we could be in that kind of market too.
Yeah, I mean, I'll throw this in here because I wanted to get it in. I had a note early in the week, like really early. It might have been last week. Hot penny summer. Expect P to say it. I think I dropped it in my page because I do that when I want to hide it from you a little bit,
Yeah.
and let it come out organically. And then you fucking drop Beyond Meat, and I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like
Right, right.
right when you do that shit, I was like, this mother, and it's not because it's like your favorite penny. It was more about
Yeah,
that to me, and I was like,
sure.
I was gonna finally say, you know what, P, I'm proud of you for not bringing up Beyond Meat and Chegg and paying attention to everything else. And like literally the next day, Beyond Meat comes up, and then I mean it had the move. It was worthy. It deserved the flow. Or it probably deserved the read because of or the mention because of the flow,
Yeah.
um, and all that. But just hard to pick out levels. Whether the 70 to 82 read is not for me. The $70 to $82 read is totally for me. But caught between two things here is shut the fuck up about these old plays and when's Hot Penny Summer coming in, because that's what I think. To tag along what you just said, I think that would be part of that overall grind. If we do really get going that way, that's going to be a thing. And yeah, I'm not ready for it because I'm trying to, lack of better terms, grow up. You say in
Yeah.
this session constantly, I would rather do the, 15 to 20 stocks or 13 to 20 stocks and so on. The 3 5s and 7s don't really do it for me. So I just have the same feeling about the shitty pennies that we used to trade, unless the environment's right. So yeah, putting that together with what we seen last week, and the lack of better terms, the fucking blue chip of penny stocks comes back in. Um, but high on your radar that's possible, because I've already seen pre markets where, man, it's 4:30 in the morning over here, bud. I got
Yeah.
one eye open, and I'm scrolling, and I'm like, there's like 10 stocks here that are up 15, 20, 30%. And I'm looking at the names. I'm like, all right, I don't know those names, so I don't have to like jump up or anything. And then you look and like, oh, these are all fucking a dollar, 70 cents, 40 cents, 80 cents. So we've kind of already had lift in that sector, so to speak, because it
Yeah.
doesn't take much. 6 cents can be 20% sometimes. Um, but it's on the table, if we do get going that way.
Yes, and yeah, with my Beyond Meat, the analogy I had, I mean, if you're walking around and you see 20 cents on the ground, are you going to pick it up?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm on my way to something bigger and more important and making real money at a real job and all that stuff. But still, I see 20 cents on the ground. I might pick it up. And will you do that 100 times or 500 times or whatever? And then, the like Bird, I was posting Bird in news, and I think the first time I posted it, it was up 200%. And it's just like, this is probably going to go. And then it, peaked at like up 800% on the day or some shit. And it doesn't have any options. I don't really read level two, but like I could see that coming. And So there's gonna be a lot of stuff like that. I don't really like that kind of thing. Like I remember when a lot of bios were popping off every pre-market, and I mean there was a while like something before we ever got did anything, and I was just sort of out on my own where I would just look at okay, who are the after hours movers, and yeah, I'll just throw a couple $100 into two or three of these, and they'll probably pop off again tomorrow morning, and that worked for a while, but then that kind of environment doesn't really last. That was when it was hard to find stocks under $1 for a while.
Yeah, there's like 100.
Um,
There was only 100 there for a minute.
yeah, yeah, and so very much that could come back. Yeah, I think 100%. It's just yeah, how do we want to deal with that? And to me, it's just yeah, a couple names I know. I'll just throw some flow in there, but no, I think we stay in our zone, our wheelhouse, and there'd be plenty to trade there too.
You don't want to just close the Discord down and go to Zach Morris's new page that he just started?
Yeah, right.
I mean, it. Let's get some boring stuff. Oh, what? One
Yeah.
more note, and you can't say shit.
Okay.
Lily's on the 200 on the weekly P.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. Um. All right. So I'll start with copper. To make a 5 to 7 move, you're gonna you got to cross 6, and so here we are. Uh. Yeah. I mean, still just a lot of strength here. Copper is reaching this 2 month high and getting into the wick of that previous spike. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Still, I would say steel is kind of where you're at. I think South America is kind of ignored right now, but there's a couple mineral stocks down there that are pretty promising. I might bring up.
Yeah, we got 6 or 7 was what it was.
Yeah.
Um, four 402 stocks currently $1. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. That list will shrink. All right. The gold and silver, real quick. I mean, we said it last week that there's opportunity in silver. So, um, here you go. And then, part of this is in response to the strait being open, which apparently it isn't. So, still going to be some volatility here. I don't think. I mean, it'd be nice if gold could dip to 42. It's just going to be tricky to get down there. I just think it's 48, 46, 44, going to bounce around there for a while. And could eventually have some kind of breakout. But
Y'all are. I probably said it 4 weeks ago, so I gotta say it once a month. But we want these charts to go down, people. We really do.
yeah,
It
yeah,
ain't,
sure.
for everything else, we really want these to go down. So silver's not far. I mean, I think silver's fine in the 50s. Gold, um, I'm 35 at least, which is that's a
Yeah.
ways away. That's a ways away for me. I mean, you have to break down it twice for me from here. So, um, yeah. But I just think it's so beneficial. I want to stay on that mindset, or that's my overall thesis. Is it's just so beneficial if these come back to reality.
Yeah, you don't want them to go parabolic because you want the dollar to still maintain its dominance, and
Yes.
it's trickier when this is doing that. All right, so then oil. I mean, whatever. Who cares? I mean, the yeah, that's a huge drop. Blah blah blah. You didn't really see the stocks follow the drop like that, right? So nobody really believes it. It it still costs a hell of a lot more than that to deliver a physical barrel of oil. So it's just chaos within paper oil. But just like shouldn't probably believe some crypto service will say that oil is at 150 or whatever. Um, it's gonna bounce back over the weekend, 90, 92 area, and you're gonna probably stabilize there. The higher low after this is all over is probably going to be in the probably above 75. So I don't know,
I like
72
it.
to 78.
I like it.
I could see it settling there, something like that.
I like it. Oil is like my first follow really, without even knowing it. I was one of them middle-aged, young age people that just bitched about gas prices and wanted to know why. Um, so just the size of the chart and the moves on the chart lately, and it manipulated fake news, whatever. I think I said something about that Sunday. It was like, just chill. Um,
Yeah.
'Cause there's some I don't want to get shaken out of, and there's some that it's good to sell at the top, so to speak, of these moves because you can just re-enter. Um, Devin versus Zom, right?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I've Oxy just
Yeah, Oxy for
the
Chevron.
pivots. I mean,
I mean, same thing.
I I mean, I knew to sell some oxy when we got into that zone in the middle 60s. I
Yeah,
mean, I just saw the pivots above and all that, and then you kind of hit it on the way back down, and now we're in this big fat zone. We're not going to 41. It's not going to happen. But there's some spots to re-enter
yeah, yeah.
in the
Well,
middle
and I
here
just
somewhere.
why waste time? Or I like money, I guess. I don't know. See money,
Yeah.
take money. That's just yeah. That's just how I. I'm not greedy. I'm really not.
Yep. And natural gas, I there's frustration amongst traders about natural gas and what the hell's it doing down here, and this kind of eternal misery or whatever. But I just think you think big picture, and we've kind of known what's going on with this for a long time. So um, maintains just a great spot to keep building, and we know the names, and they pop up every week or so. You do kind of a quick pulse check on some of those, and so yeah, I mean, it's not sector's not full send, but there's certainly a lot of opportunities here.
I'm not. I mean, I'm not gonna get racked, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm gonna get fucking racked if this thesis doesn't play out because of the way I've been able to build and trust charts in the
Yeah,
setup. I don't believe that this is priced properly. Um, and I've been able to build, lack of better terms, free positions. But those positions really ain't free. They're fucking profit that I've hard worked over the last fucking 7, 8 months. God
yeah,
damn
yeah.
it.
You don't want to give that back.
No,
Sure.
well, I don't want to
Yeah,
give it all up, or I don't want to waste that time. I mean, that's more
yeah.
important to me. I could have just fucking DCA spied, been okay.
Right, right.
But yeah, I think I bring him up because again, I'm just playing the fluctuation of the ranges currently. I trust a lot of those charts. That could be good or bad, but I just think we're gonna have an event eventually, and I'll be able to clear all that out decently. So
Yep. And lithium, um, still setting up for kind of D move, but this is doing fine. And I mean, you can just see the. I mean, I just think you kind of follow the bouncing ball of how important lithium and batteries are for all of these for AI to take its physical form, right? Um, Not Terminator robots, but just little devices and robots and drones of all kinds, and um, so yeah, this is just going to be a really explosive setup, and there's just so much. You're not trying to break new ground here. I mean, we're still just retracing and getting to the middle 30s to anywhere from 35 to 50. I think this will settle for a while.
Hey, Twitter, this is what I fucking think about you. So there's a stock out there. I don't know if you guys heard of it, but it's called SGML. Buy that shit at $20
Yeah.
from now until like at least June or July, so I can make long term. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Fuck
Right.
out of here.
Yeah.
Come on now. I mean, seriously, talk about thank you, P. I always gotta say thank you, P. I'm still flabbergasted how I mean, you approved of it, but it was never really like a hell yeah from
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
The sector was. But
Right.
yeah, come on now, just get me to fucking get me to the J months, please.
And
Other
uranium.
the L's are tradable. Sorry, I'll throw that out there too. The L's
Oh,
are
sure.
tradable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, one of them is I still say is like a $12 stock. So you go look at the price now.
Yep.
The uranium, healthy. They're behind closed doors. This isn't the uranium that's under a mountain in the Middle East somewhere. This is just the real the market for trading this and setting up, and the Europe turn setting reactors up or turning them back on or whatever. That'll be a big thing. Addressing domestic power needs. Yeah, I mean, so to me, whenever you talk about U.S. and energy independence, we could just do that so easily. But it's just about it's that the NIMBY thing, or just having the legislative will, using your political capital to make that happen. We have so much oil. We have so much natural gas. You do uranium for days. Um, Solar. You want to do that? You want to do wind, geothermal, whatever. When you're in your science class in middle school and they're talking about different kinds of energy, U.S. could easily do all of them, and so there is kind of an opportunity and for individual sectors within this. So this uranium pullback, again, it's just another opportunity. So we'll just continue to read that. But you get into the secondary and tertiary reads on these things. Moves aren't going to be as big, and you're going to be moving in and out a lot. So if you, as long as you're aware of that, I think you'll be good in these names.
Yeah, just upgrade the fucking grid while you do one of them along the
Yeah,
way.
right. Yeah, right. And that's, I mean, I think this. Anybody talk about utilities out there on Twitter? I don't
No,
think so. So
no.
that was a big thing for us too. All right,
Thank you for
and
including me in that, P. Appreciate you.
sure. uh, 10 year. There we go. That's what we want.
Halfway there.
Uh, just maybe you want the moves a little smaller going forward this week, but just kind of bleed out a little bit below 4.2, and I think you're in pretty good shape.
Love it.
Yep. And Bitcoin, SPY at all time highs. Bitcoin down here. Bitcoin also diverged from the global money supply chart. I don't know if you ever saw people do that parallel or whatever. But yeah, there's definitely some room here. And I don't want to be one of those people like it's either going to go up or down, but I don't think it consolidates around here. I don't think there's any way that occurs to me. So we're either going to pout about the straight and go back to 72 or some shit like that, or this is gonna head back to the lower 90s. And I feel pretty good about the coin entry and MSTR entry and BitDeer, and those are the three I got this round. You got Mara, you did
I
well
was about to
too.
say who's bagged on Mara. That was my
Yeah,
comment.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, so you're good here. I mean, I just think you want to be prepared if we get a pullback. What do I want to do with this position I'm up significantly on? Options. I talk about how I do options on these all the time. You want to follow that roadmap? It's been good. So yeah, still a lot of opportunity here. Just kind of middle of the zone though. I don't know where your numbers are at, but I'm just kind of like it's like sub 70 or 92, and we just see what happens.
Yeah, my 72 is it. And when just listen to what you're saying, I'm probably not far off you with the upper 80s. Your lower 90s,
Okay, yeah,
same
yeah,
same level, but
yep,
I think you'll see it'll be telling at 80. Bitcoin's pretty psychological, so
yeah.
yeah, and then 72 to 90 or 70 to 90, you want to figure that zone out with some higher lows along the way. I mean, that's probably the best case for Bitcoin in the short term duration. It's not. I mean, we're not getting those. We're not waking up to 95. Bitcoin's not on the table like that unless the government, which I think we're still currently shut down, um, has some sort of legislation that's pro Bitcoin. That's the only thing that's moving Bitcoin ever again, in my opinion.
Yeah, the government buying a shitload of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean
yeah.
that's what yeah.
It would be something with the government at this point in time. It's no like new technology or anything like that, or even what the MSTR guy buying. Stuff like that's just not pushing Bitcoin anymore. You need the biggest dogs or the big dogs to show its worth with it. Which I
Yeah,
mean I think we're gonna
the
get there. So
the greater fool
yeah,
and the potentially greatest fool of all, the federal government of the United States
exactly,
of America. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much it. The dollar real quick. Again, this you know coming off of 100, probably good. Just consolidate. You can see the zone. Could live here for years. It's fine. Um, and spy real quick.
Yeah, do some spy action. I mean, obviously, shouldn't have to tell y'all. Don't we're not going to 720. I mean, we shouldn't be here. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
inside this bar, 680, 680 here too. Yeah, 680 really stands out as a good flip spot for me. So I mean, $30 down, people are gonna pout about that 5%, but um, price
It's
needs to be revisited and discovered. That's just how the market works.
all dead open interest on my end as far as the the highest OI contracts. So gonna be looking this week for what shows up or what reemerges in September. Um, I would assume there'll be some kind of July, September, November kind of setup happening. So I'll have some numbers there. It's still 660, and I mean people are gonna I mean they'll use the term crash
Sure.
in the number 660 or 680. I mean give me a fucking break. Like that's not a that's not a
Yeah, know where
crash.
you are. I talked about that all the time. Like, well, 660 pullback, it's 5% pullback, the sky's falling, but 3% into 660 and we're running. Like, people just have
Yeah,
no perception of where you really are, where you should be on the map. And I still think 660s. I mean, we were trying to get 660 at the end of the year, and you were telling me no in September. Not you personally, but from
yeah,
I'm reading the flow perspective. Like, I just don't see it. Huh? I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And
right.
we're just well past that. So, getting a little below it, getting some more above it. But if you look at the overall, we're still going. Our highs are higher. So the lows don't really bother me. Trying to figure out the lows is all I care about so I can make moves around there because the trend is up.
Yeah, I mean the oxen thing.
Yeah.
I mean just
Yes.
we're still going.
Well, and
Yeah,
the for me the jobs are the biggest thing on the on the market, and they're not good. The jobs aren't good, but the jobs not being good are bringing rate cuts back into the equation, which are great for the market. So, um, the I forgot when I said it, but I said the market's already in January. I think we were in September. The market's still
yeah.
pretty forward looking. Um, I mean, it understands it stepped on a little Lego with the war that we have going on, but the market would not be at 710 if it didn't think we weren't going to figure this out in the next 4 months, because the market's looking past it, or we wouldn't be at 710. That wouldn't be an option.
When some vocabulary I often see people talk about we've got a gap to fill and like all gaps fill
Yeah,
or
your
all
mouth.
that kind of talk like that. Where where are the where are the spy gaps? Like what would that
I mean, you just go short term. I mean, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they're not just pulling that out of their ass.
sure.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's short term. You're going to look at really short term levels. I mean, look at volume. Look at the volume last week. 701, 702 to 708. There's not much in there. There's a five
Yeah.
pair right here. There's just not much there. So if you're going to call a gap at 705 to 701, but what time frame are you looking at? If you just bump out to the 20 day, so the last month, you're gonna call this gap 692 to 680. Is that your gap, or we're not getting back to this one down here? And then on the day chart, there's no fucking such thing. People have been buying up here.
Yeah, and I mean to me that, futures open's always fun to follow and everything. Um it's going to be hard to retrace even Friday's move, to go down 1.5% overnight and actually hold that would be really difficult. I mean, the more likely thing is, and this is just from watching it all every week, it's like, we go like get some nasty candle down to open up, and then we're down zero point 0.7 or zero point 0.6 at open, and then we kind of go from there, and it's just pre-market high, pre-market low, and all that shit into the next trading day. So yeah, opening under 700, that'd be pretty tricky. I don't really see
No,
how that.
no, but if you're 707, you could bleed out
Yeah,
to that 701 or 700 test throughout the
yeah,
day.
right.
That's more the thing, and then what it does from there is going to determine what you do the rest of the week.
Right, right.
I could see them just holding it, not at 700, but making 700 somehow very important come Friday from an option standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, then you just get into your, market maker working with the premiums and manipulation, like they love to complain about, and all that.
I
So
mean,
yeah, it creates some difficult option conditions. Even if you think like I'm pretty certain we're going to see 701 to 704, making money off that move is a kind of a different story. So um,
yeah, I think you're.
look,
I think this week you're definitely better. I mean, I've watched Spy like a hawk for the better part of a month. Checking in on it like 4 or 5 times a week. That's a lot for me. I think this
yeah,
week is a good week to just have that one check in and focus on the names.
yep.
Perfect. You ready to work, P?
Yeah, let's do it.
Perfect. Like and subscribe. Link somewhere, people.